Has your favorite Android phone stopped charging through the bottom port and now you're stuck using a piece of crap iPhone that you've had as a backup phone and you don't even know why you've kept it around? This video is for you. Hello and welcome back to Gears and Tech. This is my Samsung A70. This is an Android-based phone. It has been my daily driver for almost 3 years now, and finally, the USB-C port in the bottom has worn out and it doesn't charge anymore. The easy fix is to check if you've got lint or anything in the bottom of there that the plug's not able to go all the way in. If you do, you can get a plastic tool to clean out inside of there. Now, if that doesn't fix the problem, more than likely you are like me and you have worn out your USB-C connector. In the old days, that would mean a very expensive repair. However, these newer phones, they are made with little circuit boards all over inside that are held together with ribbon cables. And this device is no different. What you're looking for is the USB flex cable. That's what it's called. So if you're searching for a replacement for your phone and it is not the A70, the repair that we're about to go through is similar to most phones nowadays. So you can watch this repair and decide if you have the confidence to try and do this yourself, or if you want to be stuck, like me, using an iPhone while you figure out which Android phone you want to get next. I'm using this new flex replacement, blah, blah, blah. I'll put a link in the description to this kit, but let's see what it comes with. So right off the bat, I have the flex cable. You can see it's got a spot for a couple of connectors to plug in. It's got my new USB-C port here, and it has, it even has my headphone jack. Awesome. If your headphone jack is problematic as well, this will fix that. Before we get too far into this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel down below. If you've seen some of our content already and have not subscribed, we want you to join our community. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and let's get back to the video. A side note for this, if you're looking for one for your phone, this particular one specifically lists that it supports fast charging. Now, I did look through a number of these and some of them do not support fast charging. So if that's important to you, you will want to make sure that you buy one that supports fast charging. Something to know, this is not the cheapest one, and that's because the cheaper ones have issues with the USB-C port wearing out after only a few months. So this one is more expensive, it is a higher build quality, and I expect that it will last a lot longer than 3 months. Also in this kit, some tools. Now these are your standard cell phone repair tools. So you've got little plastic spargers. That's what I call them. I think there's a different name for them, and then these little like guitar pick things that are gonna be very helpful, and a suction cup, which will also be helpful, as well as 3 screwdrivers, which should be everything we need to open this up and swap this cable. So let's get started. This particular phone we get through at the back. So this just has a plastic rear side, and we need to get underneath of it. So that's what this suction cup's for. So you can suction that on and then use that to start pulling on this, but you'll see it's not gonna pull it off. And that's because there's some really strong tape under here, double-sided tape. If you have a blow dryer or a heat gun, now would be the time to heat the edge of this to try and get the glue really soft so that it will release. Now, I've just moved. Well, wouldn't you know it, my heat gun is somewhere in a box and I can't find it. And my wife's blow dryer, she's got fancy ones. They don't just blow hot air. They do all kinds of other things, and those won't work for this application. So we are about to attempt a no heat removal. What is at risk here? There's a high risk that I will crack or destroy this back cover. You can get new ones. I'll put a link for the replacement cover down below. They're pretty inexpensive and you can swap it easy if you don't have a heat gun. If you do, I strongly encourage you to try and do this with a heat gun. Let's see if we can get under here. Anywhere. We're just looking for a little crack. We've got the flat blade part screwdriver that came in the kit underneath. You can see it's bowing this out. And now we're going to try and get this guy under here. You don't want to get in too far. You just want to separate that tape. Making some progress here. You can see that this is coming up. And we're just going to keep working away at it. There we go. Just around this camera's got extra tape. There we go. Got it. Okay, so there's the cover. The first thing we're going to do is disconnect the battery. So we're going to undo the screws, which will be these Phillips head screws. Once all the screws are loose, some of them might come out, and then we need to make sure that we take the SIM card out. Hopefully this pin here will work for that. It does. So that takes the SIM tray out. Then we're going to use the guitar pick, this guy, to separate. We do a quick inspection, make sure that all our screws are out of there now. Then we can go to the front cover with our guitar pick and just get under the edge. Next we need to separate the middle tray from the screen. And to do that, we're going to just try and get under here. There we go. We got the guitar pick under there in that edge, and then we're going to slide it along, and that pops the clip. So you can see it's starting to give way here. Now I want to make sure we're not just separating the screen from this thing, because that would be bad. Okay, now we've got the mid cover separator. We're going to set that right there. Now we can disconnect the battery. We want to do the battery first, which is just right here, like that. That separates the battery, and then what we want to do is free up this card right here. So there is a couple screws here holding this guy into place. Now we're just going to unclip all of these connectors here very carefully, like that. The antenna doesn't like to come easily, so you can use the flat blade just to pop that off and get that out of the way. Once all those guys are off of there, this is simple as lifting this card up like that. That's the old card. This is the new card. They're pretty much identical. You're going to see my headphone jack is really dirty, and my USB-C port is really gross. And all we do is stick this back in where it came from. There we go. And then we can reclip these on. Now I'm going to use my finger because I got way better feel for my finger. There we go. And the antenna, you want to make sure that it's in the right position before you push it, because you don't want to break it. There we go. Again, the antenna is the one that you want to be most concerned about here. I've heard people report that they get really bad signal, and it's probably because they have not clipped the antenna on correctly. Now all the other connectors are in tight. We're just going to check with our fingers to be sure. Now in theory, I can power this on and make sure that it's charging. So I got a USB-C cord here. Let's plug the battery back in. It should say charging, and it does. That's excellent news. Now all we gotta do is stick it back together. This is as easy as going like this, making sure that we're putting the right way. Have that clip all back together, like that. You can hear it snapping into place. We've got to put all our screws back in. And then we can stick this back on, so we can take the suction cup off. I don't need it. It would be really wise to replace this tape, but if you didn't get any new tape, hopefully the old tape is adhesive enough to stick it back on. I'll put a link in the description to some new tape. Now, I always use this phone with a protective cover on, so I'm not too worried about taping it. The good news is I can pull the SIM card out of this crappy iPhone that I said I wanted to not use. Now I'll power it on. So here it has fully booted up after we replaced the flex cable, and I have this plugged into the wall with a fast charger. So we're just going to plug this in, make sure that we actually have fast charger functionality. You'll see here that it says fast charging, and it is 1 hour and 22 minutes to a full charge. So it is fully functional. On a difficulty level of 1 to 10, I would place this at a 5 to 6. Now I'm comfortable doing these kinds of repairs, so it's no big deal for me. This is quite easy for someone who does this all the time. If you've never done this before, it is pretty simple as far as getting the connector in and everything. I've seen much, much harder repairs to do. The only thing that I would mention on this is when I was taking the side case off, I accidentally actually got underneath the screen and I started separating the screen instead of the side case. Now I realized I was doing that because I've done this kind of repair before, and I realized the part that I wanted to come off was not actually coming off. So I recognized that and stopped. But it's the reason why I've got this little bit of a bow right here, because I have hurt that glue and that connection. I normally have it in this Gears and Tech case, so I can go like this, and I will never ever notice that there's any problem with that. I will plug this in and it will be fine forever. And here you can still see fast charging. So this phone is fixed. It's ready to go back to be my daily driver. I do not need to use that iPhone anymore. For you guys though, you need to consider the fact that there's a high possibility that you will ruin the phone doing this repair. I was prepared to take that risk, and the reason I was prepared to take that risk is because this was already broken. The phone did not charge. Now you could go and pay a guy at the mall, $150 to $200 to do this repair, or you can buy this kit for $20 and try and do it yourself. You don't have a lot to risk because you're not going to pay the guy in the mall the $200 because this phone is already a few years old and it's only worth $200 or $300 if it's working fine. It could be more worthwhile to just buy a new phone. Now I wanted to do this because I wanted to make this video for you guys, but also I really do kind of like this phone. I haven't seen anything newer that I like any better, so I might as well keep using this thing. So I'm really excited that I've got my SIM card back in here. Everything's working okay. It's charging okay. And that just makes me much, much happier. Let's talk about these flex cable ports. How do you stop these from breaking? What I use on all of the devices that I have that I'm frequently plugging in and unplugging, I use a magnetic connector, and I'll put a link in the description to the ones that I use. And I actually put those in like my PlayStation 5 controller, my headphones, and anything that I'm frequently plugging in and unplugging. I haven't been using it on my phone only because it's a big commitment to do it on your phone, because frequently I find myself plugging my phone in onto my laptop. I plug it in at work, at the office, in the studio here, and in multiple places. And if you do not have that magnetic cord end for it, then you're frequently taking it out and then you'll lose it, and then that just adds more plugging in and unplugging. So it doesn't actually save you from anything. But if you're willing to commit to it 100%, you could buy the kit that I'll link in the description, and you have one in the car, one at work, one in the office, and one wherever, and then you'd be okay. You can just charge it that way, and you will never, ever, ever wear this port out. And if the connector end starts to stop working, which I've never, ever seen, you just pop it out, pop a new one in, and you're good to go. That will save this, and it will save you from having to do this repair. But in the long term, this isn't a bad way to go about it either. I hope that helped you out, and I hope to see you guys again. Hey, thanks for watching all the way to the end of this video. We hope you enjoy the content in this video, and we'd love to have you come back. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And for those subscribers who are looking for that extra special thing that you can do to support this channel, consider joining our members group. That's where we're building this community, the Gears and Tech community, where we can all enjoy content together. You'll get special perks, which we'd love for you to check out by clicking the link down below. For those of you who are just happy to watch the video, that's okay too. You can check out some of our other content right over here, where we've got some previous videos that have already been uploaded and enjoyed by many of our viewers already. We do hope to see you again. This has been Gears and Tech. Have a great day.